Some billionaires pay less tax than their assistants. And the craziest part? It's completely legal. They're not breaking the law. They're bending it so far, it becomes a loophole. So, how do they do it? Buckle up. Let's start with something that sounds simple, but really isn't. Underreporting income, hiding assets overseas, claiming fake deductions for business expenses that are really private jets, penthouses, and super yachts. It's not innovation, it's invisibility. Here's how it works. You tell the government you made less than you did. You write off everything from your office, which just happens to be a 200-foot yacht with a helipad and 2 bars. After all, who hasn't needed a margarita at sea to close a deal? But this isn't just a few people cheating on their returns. This is an industry. In 2019, the IRS estimated that Americans alone hid more than $600 billion in unreported income. Globally, the number climbs past 11 trillion sitting quietly in undisclosed accounts. Some got caught, like Leona Helmsley, the hotel queen who famously said, "Only the little people pay taxes." She served prison time for billing her personal mansion renovations to her business. Or Wesley Snipes, who decided filing taxes was optional. Spoiler, it's not. But for every headline case, there are hundreds who slip through the cracks, too rich, too connected, too complicated to trace. Tax evasion is the illegal side of wealth, and we would never recommend anyone evade their taxes. It's risky, it's reckless, and when it fails loudly. Which is why the smartest billionaires don't play that game at all. They don't hide money under the table. They use a new table, one the IRS helped design. Because the real power isn't in breaking the rules, it's in writing them. Here is the first thing they done to tell you about money. You and billionaires live under completely different tax realities. You work for income, they work for appreciation. Every 2 weeks, you get a paycheck, and the IRS gets there before you do. But when billionaires get richer, it's not from paychecks. It's from something far quieter and far smarter, unrealized gains. Let's break that down. When you own stock and its value goes up, that profit exists only on paper until you sell it. The government doesn't tax paper profits, only cash ones. So if your net worth skyrockets because your company stock doubled, you technically made millions, but owe nothing until you sell. And the ultra-rich, they almost never sell. They let their wealth grow like a houseplant, untouched, untaxed, and quietly compounding. Take Elon Musk, for example. For years, he didn't take a salary from Tesla, he just held stock. When Tesla's value exploded, his net worth soared by over $100 billion, but because he didn't sell, his tax bill stayed at zero. Same with Jeff Bezos at Amazon. His wealth grew massively from Amazon's stock price. In 2007, despite being worth over $8 billion, he legally paid zero in federal income tax. So, how do you live like a billionaire if your money's all locked up in stocks? Simple. You borrow against it. Banks love lending to the wealthy. Zero risk, low interest, and big collateral. It's called an asset-backed loan. Instead of selling stock and triggering capital gains tax, billionaires just pledge those shares as collateral, borrow millions in cash, and voila, instant tax-free liquidity. Here's an example. Larry Ellison, the founder of Oracle, they used this strategy for a year. He borrowed hundreds of millions using his Oracle shares as collateral, allowing him to buy mansions, yachts, and even a Hawaiian island without selling a single share. Elon Musk did the same. At one point, he had over $13 billion in loans backed by his Tesla stock. Tax-free money that he could use however he wanted. And when it's time to repay, they sell a tiny bit of stock, maybe years later, or refinance again at an even lower rate. Meanwhile, their other assets have kept growing, untaxed. It's the closest thing to an infinite money glitch the real world has ever seen. Welcome to the Cayman Islands. What's the point of being filthy rich if you don't also look philanthropic? Now here's the holy twist, the part that makes headlines and halos. When billionaires give it all away, they don't really give it away. They just move it to a different pocket, one with a tax exemption. They create something called a foundation or a donor-advised fund. It sounds selfless, it's actually strategic. They donate stocks instead of cash, which means they never pay capital gains tax on those shares. Instantly, they get a huge tax deduction on the full market value without ever selling anything. Then that money sits in their foundation, which they still control. They hire staff, choose the causes, sometimes even invest the foundation's assets and collect fees. It's like putting your money in a trust fund with better PR. You get the write-off, the applause, and the naming rights. Hospitals, museums, universities, all branded like limited edition sneakers. And sure, some of that money does real good. Scholarships, vaccines, research. But let's be honest, for the ultra-rich, charity is the final form of tax optimization with a halo. Because here is the irony, while you donate $50 to a GoFundMe and feel broke for a week, they donate $1 billion and somehow end the year richer. So let's recap. They buy assets, they borrow cash, they die tax-free. And then they give strategically, collecting applause, deductions, and legacy points along the way.